crafty friends, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky Paper Crafts, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba. Had a bit of a plan change. Today we are creating a bookmark. I think it was time to kind of switch things up a little bit. I just got this stamp set and I will be actually creating a class coming up with this really soon, and I can't wait. I absolutely love it. But I'm going to show you a different technique. We're going to use markers. This is the stamp set that I'm going to be using, and I've got my memento at the ready. I'm going to be creating a silhouette with our stamp. But first, I've got our sponge daubers. Now, I'm using the markers for this, but you can use ink pads just as easily. I'm using this so that when I layer up the ink, it's not going to mess too much with the color variation, because I do want to blend the colors. So balmy blue, I don't know. This is, I think it needs to be re-inked. Maybe not. Maybe it's okay. And we'll add some Coastal Cabana. So I am creating a watery look, as well as adding some colors for a sunset. I've cut my sheet. It's 8.5 by 2 inches wide. And you know, it's a bookmark, so you can do whatever size you would like. And I'm just picking up the ink and then adding more as I go and as I need. Color a little bit more on there. I think I'm going to add a little bit of navy as well. I love these ink daubers because they keep your finger completely and perfectly clean. And then I like to start a little bit off the edge so that the color isn't fully on and it's not fully streaky. And the harder you push and the more you blend, of course, the easier it will be to see, and the more color you'll have on your project as well. So this corner is kind of neglected, so I'm just gonna, you know, we're having a bit of a, well, not a bit of, we're having quite a torrential thunderstorm at the moment, so I am looking at maybe a little bit of stormy waters today. Okay, so this one has the blue. You can clean it two ways. You can rub it off until no more ink shows up, or if you wanted to, you can also run it under water and clean it that way. If you use soap, you want to make sure that it's really rinsed out well, and you want to give it ample time between applications to dry as well. So now I'm going to start at the top. What is this? Mango is where I'm going to start, and then I'm just going to move my way down and blend the colors as it kind of go with the flow a little bit today is sort of what I'm feeling, actually. It's a very laid back day. I don't know if you can hear, but my poor dog is behind me just panting her poor little head off. She gets so stressed out with yucky weather. She's on high alert. She lets us know hours before we get any kind of weather. Now, if you don't want to have the streaks and that on your project, you can bring in a little bit of water to blend it. And I might, depending on how it's looking when we're done, I might go over with a little bit of Winko Stella as well. You do want to make sure that you're holding your paper so that it doesn't, I'll do Poppy Parade next, so that it doesn't bend. And I've just picked kind of colors that I thought would go well in a sunset. There's really no rhyme or reason to it today, which is kind of life in the craft room over here anyway. We're just kind of doing a bit of a tropical theme today, and we're bringing it down into the other colors as well, just so that it's got a little bit more of a blend. You can also tap off. If you feel like you've got maybe a little bit too much ink, you can just tap it off. And I'm going to do a little bit of just our Night of Navy at the very, very top. What is this, Cajun Craze? Yeah. Not 100% sure Cajun Craze is the direction I want to go. So we'll just do a tester. Yeah, I think it'll work. A little bit softer with the darker colors. Actually, that really blends well with Poppy Parade. And you do have time to mix and blend your inks as well. I really like how that turned out, actually. I'm pretty sure Wink of Stella is going to make an appearance today. Just do a little bit more in a few areas. And that's the lovely thing, too, about using the daubers and being able to customize how much pressure you put onto your project. If you want it darker in certain areas, add a little bit more pressure, add a little bit more ink. If you want it lighter in some, just back it off. All right, so I'm going to wipe this off and then get some of our navy going. I'll switch sponges. Now I'm just going to kind of go around and soften the edges a little bit with Night of Navy, make it look a little bit more dusky than sunsetty up top. Apparently those are the technical terms I'm using today too. Oh boy. All right. I don't know. Does it look like dusk? Does it look like storm clouds? It's hard to tell. I didn't do a very good job blending that one, but it's okay, because we will just make it look like that's the way it was supposed to be. And come down a little. Add a little bit more blue. I absolutely love creating because there is no right or wrong. You can kind of go your own way, make your own thing. And if you love it, it's right. If you hate it, flip it over and start again. Okay, I think we're going to call that done now. Just a little bit there. Yeah, I really like how that looks. Wipe this off. Now, we are doing a silhouette. So I am stamping this in Memento. I've got my big stamp block. I had my big stamp block. Probably a little bit bigger than I need, but it's all right. This is the one that I grabbed, so this is the one that we're going to use. Now, when I place, actually, we're going to place the sticker first, so we have a better idea of what we're actually working with here. So if you have been around Prairie Sky Paper Crafts for any length of time, you know how to do this. If not, I will show you. So you take your paper off of your sticker, or off of your stamp. You take the paper off of the sticker, and then you hover it and line it up before you place it down, so that you are going, this one's a little bit tricky because of the shape. But you basically just hover it to the outline, press it down, and then pull it off and you're good to go. Now, these are super sticky. I've had them stick to the inside of stamp cases. I haven't had them stick to the block, but this block needs to be cleaned. When you stick it down, if it does get stuck, all you need to do is take the pointy end, take the spatula end of your, take your pick tool and gently press it between the stamp and the block, and then just give it a bit of a turn and it'll pull off easily. Or you can do the same thing with your finger. Just make sure that when you do it, it's between the sticker, because if you pull the foam, it could separate away from the rubber. And while Stampin' Up! Does have an amazing excuse me, guarantee and warranty on their stuff, it's not guaranteed against user error. What I like to do sometimes too is just tap it off onto a fuzzy surface, shirt that I'm wearing, pants that I'm wearing, just to kind of get some stuff between it and the surface of the block. But I also take it off the block as soon as I'm done. Memento. Okay, and one of the reasons for putting the sticker on is so that you can see the design completely, and there we go. You get an idea of where you're working. Now, this is the first time that I've stamped with this, so I am going to stamp it off onto my blotter first, just to make sure that I'm going to get a good impression. So straight up, press straight, straight down, press straight up. I really love that. I'm so glad I got this set. I love the beach. It's, I don't know, water is my happy spot. It's where I go to completely unwind and relax. All right. So I do want to have the water. So I'm going to stamp my rock and my trees as close to the bottom as I can. I should have done some brown first, but it's okay. And whoops. And it's all right if some of your stuff goes off the edge. So straight down, press. You can use your Stamparatus too if that's what you've got and that's what you love to use. And lift it straight up. And pull this guy off and grab our sentiment. Love you to the beach and back, I think is going to be the sentiment that we're going to use on this one. Happy birthday. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is the right one. It's kind of hard to tell on the scripty font sometimes which is the right one. So before I put my sticker on, I am going to ink it up and see, make sure it's exactly what I want it to be. Love you to the beach and back. Okay. And then we're just going to stick this guy down here. My kids are doing a reading challenge. I challenged them at the end of the school year that if they read a certain amount of pages, they would get a reward for each level that they passed. I know that summer is coming to an end and school is, 2-3-ish weeks maybe. They're really starting to push themselves to get there. So now we've got our bookmark done. I'm going to grab some Stella and we're just going to flick it. It's going to go everywhere. Oh, maybe not. So to flick, all you do is hold your finger out and then just give it a bit of a squeeze because this doesn't feel like there's very much coming out. I think this Wink of Stella might be getting close to empty. What? Say it ain't so. I think I might have actually emptied this Wink of Stella. All right, and then you're just going to flick it until you get some spots coming. They're really kind of hard to see on the camera. You can also just kind of dot here and there. Because this is a bookmark, I am not using anything that would be adding any kind of depth or height. So we're not going to be using any dimensionals. We're not going to be using any gems because I don't want to mar the pages of a book. So we're going to close up our Wink of Stella. Now I've already made my little, well, partially made my little tassel. I just looped some parakeet party around 3 fingers and then tied the Starry Night ribbon behind it or around it, and then I looped the tail end to create our tassel. So then all I'm going to do is take my scissors, I'm going to trim this, and we're just going to cut our loops. And I think I got them all. And then we're just going to take this and trim so that they're even-ish. About there looks good, I think. So there's our tassel. Now I've got all these little glorious glittery bits everywhere. If you wanted to, you could use your hole punch. You could use a tag topper punch to create the top. I'm just going to simply pierce a hole with my take your pick tool onto a sponge, because that will allow me to make my hole without marring the paper too much. I'm just going to get it started. So not too close to the start or to the top of the page. And also, there we go. Well, it's not quite center, but it mostly got there. So now all I'm going to do is trim off our end. I'm going to feed our ribbon through. And then just simply give it a little knot. Pull it up. And then separate this to create our tassel. So there is our, oh, this guy's kind of sticking out on his own way, isn't he? So fix that by a quick little snip. So there is our beach themed bookmark. If you give it a try, I would love to see it either in my VIP group, Prairie Sky Paper Crafters, or on my page, Prairie Sky Paper Crafts, which is linked down below. I'm going to give this a bit of a trim too. So you don't always have to make cards when you stamp. You can create wherever the mood strikes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you again really, really soon.